Welcome back to another episode of Weekly Spark. I wanted to do a little more on last week's topic of altering images. So this image came out of a fashion magazine. I believe it was for shoes, and I thought it would be great based on her setting and kind of her position to turn her into a dryad. So from the waist down, she's going to be a tree. What I've done to prep this page, aside from tape it down, because it's not like in a page collage art journal spread yet, is I put some clear gesso over top of her and let that dry. So you can actually hear the difference. That the clear gesso gives it a roughness. So it's got some tooth and it's going to grab onto whatever material, in this case acrylic paint, so that it doesn't just bead up or kind of slick off this slippery magazine paper. Just to show you the application of the clear gesso, I have this page as well. I loved her pose, and I immediately imagined her as like having the wind blowing into her face, but then I wanted her hair to be streaming out behind her. So literally, Liquitex clear gesso goes on kind of milky, dries clear. So there's a coat on her. That way, in case I want to change other parts of her, then I've got some tooth on that page as well. Set that aside, let it dry, and it'll be ready to mess with on another day. So with this one, I'm not going to try and exactly match up the colors, but I want something that fits in to the background, since I'm not going to cut this image out, but use it, in this setting.
So she's definitely going to be greener, but this will be a good base coat, and then I can always work over top of it.
Well, I'm probably going to have to paint her top too, because now that I went into the background and kind of made her really part of this forest, the top needs to be some kind of earthy color. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to let these things dry. You can kind of see how that worked. It looks very different than it started, and I could easily see her collaged into some kind of earth, forest, dryad themed piece. So I did not have clear gesso on all the background where I was doing some of that stippling and sponging, but that's okay. It wasn't on too thick, so it should be okay and dry and, be workable. I'll probably go into her tree trunk dress legs a bit more later, but for right now, I think that gives you an idea. One other thing that I wanted to mention while we're talking about altering magazine images to kind of make them more yours is just kind of fun, surreal, or unexpected combinations of things. I loved her pose. And so real quick, this had come out of like an antiques magazine or something, and I just kept seeing that in my head. Maybe this isn't the right vase. Maybe I want a vase that has a straighter side so she can be leaning up against it like that. But I liked the black and white limited color palette. So that's the kind of thing that I sometimes play with purely for fun when we're looking at unusual combinations of things, juxtaposition of objects that at least at this scale wouldn't go together. So hopefully that sparks some ideas for you, whether it be in grabbing a fashion magazine as a splurge to add to your collage fodder. I know they're expensive, but if you find one that definitely has some images that already speak to you, then you can definitely harvest some more out of there. I, of course, am not making any money on the fashion magazines, but it is something that I do sometimes pull out for fun on the collage table. So for this episode of Weekly Spark, hopefully that gave you some ideas, some things to play with. And we will come back to either the Dryad or this woman and the vase next week to do a full spread and see how the original magazine images wind up into a page. For now, I would love it if you wanted to subscribe or hit the like button or notifications. All of those things really help my channel and I appreciate it. But thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next week.